So here's the question of the day. When will you wake the fuck up? When will you stop letting excuses and reasons and playing small stop you from stepping into the life that you were meant to live? So the man you're meant to be, to lead and to tackle the purpose that you were meant for. What would it take? Now, I firmly believe that if you ignore the signs, if you ignore the call from the universe, that the universe will start calling louder, giving you wake-up calls, pushing you further into things that you don't want, to see how much shit you are willing to tolerate before you finally step up and make a change. The other day I spoke about Pain Island and paradise, and I think that's very, very true. But I think there is this point of how much are you willing to put up with before you actually make a change? Because our standards are represented in our life, and what standards we set for ourselves and the standards that we set in terms of, as I said, what we're willing to tolerate is how our life will play out. And I firmly believe that if you aren't willing to make a change, the universe will make it increasingly more difficult over time to ignore that call to action, to ignore taking that first step and doing what's required. And the example I'd give in my own life at the moment is that we are moving at the moment. This is probably the 4th or 5th time in as many years. And it's a giant pain in the ass. And every time it's happened because our landlord has decided to sell the property that we were living in. Can't fault him on that, completely understand. So this time we were given 90 days to find a new place. And that market is bare at the moment, the renter market. It is a shit time to be a renter, that's for damn sure. Anyway, so we would spend our weekends looking for rental properties, and we could not find one. And especially because the prices have gone, drastically up is one point, and the other point is that we had a roommate that we were trying to take with us because it just made everything way more economical. And so we kept going, and in the dire moments of the time frame before we had to move out, we found a house. Now, based on our roommate's recommendation, we put in an offer sight unseen. We have then seen the house, and we didn't like it. Me and my wife did not like it at all. But we've been approved. And then, due to her own reasons, and we don't hold them against her, our roommate has decided that she's moving on. She's going to move to a different location that is more suited to her needs. But we have been approved for this place on the assumption that she would be coming with us. So this new home that we are moving into at the moment is not well equipped, is not the best setup for us by any stretch of imagination. But it is a house. Now, there are two ways, and we've discussed this before, perception creates your reality. There are two ways we could look at this. One, we could get shitty. We could get really pissed off about what our roommate has done, that we've ended up in a crappy house that we don't want to be in, that we aren't happy with the circumstances, like that we're overpaying in rent, all this kind of stuff. It would be very easy to get negative on the situation and to get unhappy and create a negative place around it all. That wouldn't be a stretch at all. But because perception is reality, and as I said, we want to choose how we set this up. I want to choose the framing that I put this in. The other alternative is that this is a fucking wake-up call from the universe. Because we have been talking for years, and I mean that legitimately, for years, about buying a big block of land, getting some acreage, building ourselves our house, setting it all up that way. We could set up retreats that I want to do for this business. We could set up horses and cows and chickens and all that kind of stuff. We could basically build out a hobby farm. That is what we have wanted to do for a long time. And we keep talking about it as a someday thing. And as we all know, some days become never. They become no days. They become always forever in the future and just never amount to ever becoming a reality. And that's a problem. And it's something that we need to change. Sorry, something very strange is going on here. And I think that's what this is. I think this is that wake-up call. It's the universe going, you keep talking about someday. Well, stop making it someday and make it today. And I think this applies to health and fitness. It applies to business. It applies to career. It applies to being the best father. It applies to being just the best version of yourself. We can set these audacious goals and long-term prospects and all this kind of stuff and just put it down to someday we'll get there. We'll put a timeline on it. Put a deadline on it. Or the universe is going to start fucking with you. It's going to create situations that you don't want to be in. It's going to create situations where it is going to force your hand. And you can continue to eat a shit sandwich, or you can look at it in the positive perspective and go, all right, the universe is telling me something now. It is telling me that it is time to do more, to be more, to elevate. And that's how I'm choosing to look at this one. That it is time to step into this. It is time to actually put in the grunt work and figure out what it is going to take to buy this block of land, to build out our dream house on it, to build out the dream scenario. And I've started that. I've started looking. And to be honest, it's not as big a stretch as I thought it was. It's not as big an ask as I thought it was going to be. So now the question is, what do I do from here? Because I've got to pull my head out of my ass. I've got to pull my head out of my ass and start doing the work that has to be done. Because the universe is sending me that sign. We are not meant to be doing what we're doing. That's what this is telling me. And look, people would disagree with me and, call it woo-woo or all that kind of stuff. But as I said, perception is reality. I can either choose to bitch and moan and that we got fucked and all this stuff didn't work out in our favor. Or I can flip it on its head. I can take control of it and go, right, the universe is telling me it's time to do something better. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take that perception. I'm going to take it as a positive sign that the universe is wanting me to do more. And I think there is a great lesson in that so much of our lives, when shit goes wrong, we just turn into the victim and we go, woe is me, poor me, ugh, nothing ever works out for me. Maybe it's working out perfectly for you. Maybe it's exactly how it's meant to be. You're just not hearing what it's trying to say. You're not hearing what the universe is trying to impart onto you. And this is the part where you need to take that wake-up call. You need to hear that message and go, fuck, what am I doing with my life? What could I be doing more of with my life? How could I be doing better with my life? And I think especially with something like 126, with chasing greatness, with becoming the best father, husband, and man you could be, we need to step up. We need to hear that call. We need to hear what it's saying to us and go, all right, now is the time. Now is the time to actually do something serious about this. Now is the time to heed the call and do what has to be done. Because it's not going to be comfortable to make this change. It's not going to be easy. But also not doing it is going to get harder and harder and harder. Things are just going to get worse. The longer you ignore them, the longer you put these things off, the harder your life is going to be. It comes back to that old one, that old adage that they talk about. There is going to be pain in life regardless of what you choose. So you can either choose the pain of discipline, effort, and sacrifice now, or the pain of regret, missed opportunities, and a disappointing life. What will you choose? And that applies more perfectly to health and fitness than any other area. Because, yeah, you can choose either the pain of effort, the pain of discipline at the gym, of, not shoving junk food down your gullet, of not choosing alcohol, not choosing soft drink, not choosing drugs, not choosing these things. You can sacrifice the dopamine chasing, the short-term gratification, for the long-term gratification. Because you either look after your health now, and you pay for it now, you invest in it now, you choose the right path now, or you pay for it later. And you pay for it in disease. You pay for it in inability to do things. You pay for it in not being able to live the life you want. And that's a hard concept for a lot of people to wrap their head around because it's so far down the track. But I can guarantee it. I can guarantee if you do not spend the time looking after yourself now, that you will pay for that later. And that pace, if you do not pay for it up front, the payment down the road will be tenfold what it is now. And this is the problem. And beyond that, you're a father. It's bigger than you. Because if you don't pay the price now, there is a high, and I mean a high probability, that your children will also pay the price. As I said to you last time when I brought this statistic up, I need to actually look it up. But it's something like, if one parent is obese, there's a 50% chance that the child will be obese. If two parents are obese, it's something like 85 to 90% chance that the child will be obese. So if you're not looking after your health, if you're not doing the things that matter, if you're not making those choices and those hard decisions now, you will pay for it down the track. And your children will bear that burden as well. In their own decisions, in their own health and fitness, in their own longevity, in their own happiness, in how they show up for the world. And also, in how they will have to look after you. Are they going to have to bury you early? I had this argument with a woman, not too long ago. And she was like, you don't need to be fit to be a good dad. And I'm like, look, maybe you don't need to be fit to be a good dad. But to be the best dad, you do. Absolutely, you fucking do. And beyond that, if you die at 40 or even 50, how are you a good dad? If you don't look after your health and you die, or you end up unable to provide for your family and they have to come visit you in the hospital, how is that being a good father? How is that living up to the best standard? If you are no longer in the picture, you aren't a good father anymore, are you? No, you're fucking dead because you chose dopamine chasing and instant gratification over being there for your children, being the best version you could be for your children. No, you cannot be the best father possible without looking after your health and fitness. And we need to stop pussyfooting around this concept that people want to talk about, that health and fitness isn't a requirement of being a good father, a good man, a good husband. It is. Looking after yourself is just a fucking requirement. And we need to stop being gentle about it. We need to stop being kind and telling people it's okay. It's not. You are letting down yourself. You're letting down your kids. You're letting down your wife, your family, your friends, those people you serve by not looking after your health. It's time to step the fuck up and actually do the work. You need to be in the best shape possible. You need to be healthy and as fit as humanly possible so that you can serve them. That is our duty, our honor, and our obligation as a man. So it's time to rise to that. Because I mean it when I say that you cannot be the best father, the best version of yourself, if you are not in good shape. So it's time to step the fuck up. Now, as always, if you enjoyed my rant, if that hit a nerve and struck a chord, please like, comment, share, subscribe, join it, spread the word. Help me make a difference in this world. Help me spread this movement and change lives. So send this to someone who needs to hear this, who needs to be called out, who needs to raise their game and become the best version of themselves. And if you are ready to do so, click the link in my bio and join the Daily Greatness Mail, where you will get daily guidance on how to become the greatest version of yourself. And lastly, if you are ready to go all in, if you are ready to become the best father, husband, and man you can be, to burn the motherfucking boats and see who you can be when you cut away all the shit that doesn't serve you, message me directly and let's throw you in the deep end. Let's see who you can become and who you are underneath it when we strip away all the shit. Until then.